It is the Mountaineers Now postgame show presented by Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning. Take me home to comfort. West Virginia winners over the Drexel Dragons 66-60. A look here at the numbers. Once again, Jesse Edwards, Quinn Slazinski, the headliners for the Mountaineers. Edwards going for 16 points, 5 boards, and a pair of blocks. Slazinski, 14 points, 6 rebounds. He had 5 turnovers in this game. That's been kind of a problem for him here occasionally this season. He accounted for 5 of the 12 Mountaineer turnovers. Amari Williams, the big man from England for Drexel, he had 12 points and 15 rebounds on the day. But I think one of the main keys here for this one, Chris, is West Virginia finally made some shots, especially from 3, where they went 7 of 17.
Yeah, we just talked about it the other day. Need that third scorer. Seth Wilson comes in as soon as he came in, hit those consecutive threes off the bench, and that they were down 9 at that point. So those were obviously huge. Akok comes in, gives a lot of energy, plays around 12 minutes tonight. That was huge. He had a straightaway 3 as well. So big minutes for Seth Wilson. As much as he struggled as of late, his body language looked better. He shot the ball with confidence, came off the ball screens a lot harder. So just as a much needed boost for that team, obviously. And then getting Akok back has just been great because he's been doing little things defensively to get stops to kind of create some of those runs, even though there's been kind of limited minutes. But yeah, you've needed that third score. I thought you got a little bit of help from everybody today. Even Pat Sumnick, when he came in, hit a 3. So when you get a little bit of contributions from everybody, kind of get to that third score, you can kind of start to see the potential of this team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many more wins this team would have if Akok would have played, but it certainly shows that he is an impact player on this team, and he's going to be the further he gets along, the more his conditioning comes along. Because again, I tweeted it out. He's not playing a whole lot of minutes, but he's making the most out of those damn minutes. Like he's either getting an assist, which is actually one of the more underrated parts of his game, is the way he sets players up on the offensive end. I think he's done a really good job of creating baskets, but it's either assists, getting a rebound, blocking a shot. I mean, just darting, taking away shots at the rim, which would have been easy shots before when they point guards are coming down the lane, they see Akok there. All of a sudden, it's a little bit of a different presence down there than what they've had. So he's played well. You mentioned Seth Wilson. I think Josiah Harris at some point is going to get going. But look, you get through these first 9 games at 4-5. It's not a great record. We all understand that. But reinforcements are coming. Kirk Kriisa is now eligible. He makes his debut next Saturday when the team takes on UMass up in Springfield. I know it's really, really early, and you got some so-called bad losses on this schedule, but is this team's do they have a chance to maybe formulate, a good chemistry here, even with all these pieces kind of coming back, and be able to win enough games to get to the tournament?
So wait and see, and we don't know how the committee is going to view these first 9 games. Are they going to take into consideration, how shorthanded they were, and it definitely is going to matter how they're playing through conference play. You got to get some quality wins. That's obvious, and if you go above 500, you're going to get quality wins. So it's really just a matter of how the committee views it. We've heard everything over the years on how they view teams and what considerations they make. And, we just saw the football playoff committee. Of course, it's 2 different animals. They select different criteria every year, it seems like. Well, it doesn't seem like they do kind of cherry pick criteria every year. So really it's going to be up to the committee. If this was a full roster team and they had this record, you'd have to really dominate the Big 12 to get selected, I would believe. So they have a lot of work to do. I think really their best chance right now is just to get right and hopefully make a run in the Big 12 tournament where you could win the thing, to be quite honest, because I think what really helps them this year is the league expanded and you're not playing the same 9 teams twice this season. Now, obviously, you have BYU that's gotten better It's gotten way better than I think everybody expected. I think they're 14th right now, so there's still a lot of tough games on the schedule. And obviously, you add Houston, but again, not playing every team twice definitely helps, and you get a little less familiarity, and you bring Cincinnati and UCF on the schedule, so you kind of get it's a little lighter than usual, even though it's not lighter
Yeah.
really in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're taking the college football playoff committee's thinking, you probably like that because they're sitting there saying, "Well, they're a different team at the beginning of the season than they
Yeah,
were."
but you got to
So,
think how they apply the criteria to who.
right.
So,
Yeah.
I don't think West Virginia will get that benefit of the doubt. But again, if they have an outstanding conference record, like a 13-5 or something, I think you have to kind of take it all in the frame at that point. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, that's something I don't think that it's been a while since I had 13-5 record. That's a tough ask considering some of the guys, some of the competition in the league right now.
Yeah, we don't know the status of Raekwon Battle. I mean, if he's going to play or not. I mean, we do know that he's still out, but there's some ongoing lawsuits and stuff, and they're trying to get that decision reversed. So if he comes back, that's just another card in your deck that you can work with, and one that Josh Schuyler could certainly use. So, but tonight, more back on tonight. I don't want to go too far away off the tonight's game. I think there was one part in the second half, Chris, where it felt like it was about to be the tipping point, right? Where it was the same kind of flow that you have seen these past few games where they play well in the first half, they hang in for a little bit in the second half, and then they go in that scoring drought for 4 to 5 minutes. And that's like danger territory. It feels like they get on the ropes every second half. And it felt like they handled that much better today because they didn't allow Drexel to get a 6, 8, 10 point lead like we saw Pitt do and St. John's do and others do throughout the season. They hung in there, they got stops, and they were able to make it out on the other end of that 4 minute drought.
Yeah, Drexel's not a very good shooting team either, so I want to get
Benefit from that a
I
little
don't
bit.
want to give too much credit to the West Virginia defense because Drexel got open looks. I think they were 1 for 9 or something crazy during like an 8 minute stretch or a 7 minute stretch.
Yep.
So, they both went on. I think together they went on a 4 minute scoring drought there after Seth Wilson tied the game. So it yeah, you can credit some defense, but at the same time, Drexel's a poor shooting team, and it's something that they're going to have to correct. And I know a lot of that's just fatigue, but we'll see kind of how like they get Chrisa back. But really, that 12 minutes you get from Akok tonight, it just I think they honestly look lethargic in the first half, and it may have saved their legs a little bit in the second half.
Yeah.
Kind of unplanned, saving their legs. Maybe it was a little bit planned among the players to save their legs there in the first half. But yeah, I mean, Quinn just looked tired within the first 2 minutes of the first half. So did Jesse. So this week off is going to be huge for him. And if they can get Akok to maybe 20 minutes by next week, because he'll be able to do some conditioning this week to maybe give some of those guys more relief. And I'd like to see Pat get more minutes. Kind of, he's still a little wild.
He's played well in spurts.
Yeah, he's still a little wild, but he would like to see him improve to be able to just add a couple more minutes out there because it would be critical. And JoJo's not going to be able to really play the four strongly, especially when they get into conference play. So really, it's just a 3-man rotation down there right now. So if Pat can do something to stay on the floor a little longer, it would definitely be beneficial for this team because I know he's part of the rotation, but I think how many minutes did he have tonight? Of course, it's not popped up. So yeah, he only played 3 minutes tonight. He did hit that three, but I don't think he played a minute in the second half. So he's got to find ways to get on the floor and stay on the floor.
Yeah, one of the interesting stats I thought in this game was the free throw shooting because this has kind of been what West Virginia's leaned on a lot this year is getting to the line. They're one of the better teams in the country in doing so. Tonight they only got 5 attempts. They went 3 of 5. But then conversely, Drexel they only went 3 of 4. We had 9 total free throws in this game. That's kind of unusual, I would say, for two teams that shoot it as poorly as they do. You would think they try to pound it underneath and get to the basket, but um, I mean, 39 combined 3 point attempts. That blows my mind. I just now saw that. So interesting way for West Virginia to win. That's a decent team in Drexel. They beat Villanova on the road. Zach Spiker, Morgantown native. He had to have enjoyed coming to Morgantown, even if it wasn't losing fashion. Pretty cool moment for him to be able to coach and bring his own team into the Coliseum. So West Virginia, 4-5 now. Last thing before we get out of here, Chris, thoughts on Kirk Kriisa, what his impact is going to be? What do you expect out of him from the get-go?
I think a couple of things. He'll be able to facilitate the offense a little better than what we've seen from Kobe. It's not really a knock on Cody. He's playing out of position.
Played really well, too, last few games.
Yeah, he's played well. He picked the spots I thought really well today. But it'll be nice to see him and Kriisa out there. But I think really what you'll get once he kind of gets in the flow is the timing. Talk about Seth coming off screens.
Yep.
The pass will be right there on point where he can just release it quickly. And that's extremely important in Big 12 conference play. So little things like that, getting the ball down to Jesse in the right spots, down on the post, so he's not getting pushed to the outside, so he can just turn and shoot. Will also be critical. So I think really it's just his passing and his two-man game. And honestly, he's a better shooter than probably what he gets credit for. And that may take a couple games for him to get his feet wet in there as well. But his scoring is going to really help. So if Seth can keep up the way he did today, it's been a knock on him the last couple of years is his consistency. Let's see if he can kind of get it rolling. And if you get Chris that also hit some shots on the outside, all of a sudden you got 4 scores, and Quinn doesn't have to drive the ball so much where he's getting pickpocketed for 5 times a game. So it's kind of a wait and see really at this point
Yeah.
with Kirk, because he's 9 games absence. These guys have to try to just use what they have to find a way to win. So everyone's going to have to try to get back on the same page here. And I wouldn't be surprised if he struggled the first game with just Aaron passes in the stands and stuff, just because he hasn't really played with over the last month and a half or whatever it is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think he's going to be a huge part to that offense finally getting going, because I think they're really kind of living in the 60s, the low to mid 60s most nights. But I think with you add him to the mix, I mean, you would assume he's going to average somewhere between 12 and 14 points once he really gets going. And he's going to average probably somewhere between 6 and 8 assists. So you're talking a lot more offense coming the Mountaineers' way. So West Virginia winners again over Drexel, 66-60. They have a week off, as Chris mentioned. They're going through finals and everything. So their next game will be next Saturday, 6:30 on ESPNU against UMass in the Basketball Hall of Fame Classic. And we'll have the post-game coverage for that one as well. So that'll do it for us here today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Mountaineers Now. Follow us on X at the same handle. And no shows tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday with an episode of Between the Ears. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.